Okay, it's recording.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm recording it because we're sitting here talking. We got home about 2 hours ago from North Dallas because we had went and ran a Ragnar. And if you don't know what a Ragnar is, it is a like 120-ish miles, right?
Yeah, 120.
Relay race that a team of 8 run. And so you have 3 loops. You have a green loop that's usually around 3 miles,
And usually easy.
usually easy. A yellow loop that's usually 5 to 6 miles, and then a red loop that is usually 7 miles, and of course harder. And we've done the one in the hill country a few times, and so we signed up to do this one in North Texas. It's just north of Decatur, north of Dallas. And it's the first year they put it on there. And we got there Thursday afternoon and set up camp, because you have to camp while you do this. And I talked my brother into joining us, so he drove in from North Carolina and went with us. And we were supposed to take off yesterday morning at 8 a.m. with our first runner, and it started raining about the time he was coming in. He did the green loop,
And it was tolerable.
and it was tolerable. He's like, it's great. And then
And the rain came.
Chris goes out to do the yellow loop, and it started raining on him. And so what it is you will run the green, yellow, and red. But like I started with the yellow, and I did the yellow, and it's like 4 hours or so before I ever do my next loop. I was in the order that it was yellow, green, and then red this year. And I'm slow anyway because I'm getting over an injury, so my pace is slow. But y'all, it turned into a pigsty. It was awful. I cannot express how bad this was. It was so muddy, and I didn't like the way my trail shoes fit, so I left them at home like an idiot and just took road shoes to run in. And the fact that I still had them on my feet when I came into the finish line was amazing, because if you're from the South and you've been around a pigsty, you know that when it rains and you've got 80 pigs, 80 teams of 8 pigs running around in this pigsty, you've got like quicksand kind of stuff going on. And so I was attempting to run this, and so I did the yellow loop. It was raining on me. It was real soupy. It was very, very slick because they weren't trail shoes, so they got no traction.
And the mud was slick. The yellow mud, or the yellow clay, was so slick.
Yeah, it was so slick. Even the really young, fit people that were passing me were like doing this stuff because they were sliding everywhere. Somehow I did not fall on the yellow loop. I'm really surprised because everybody was falling. And we come in, and Bill's like, I'm so scared you're going to be mad. And I was like, that was awful. And I go and I clean up, and I rinse my shoes. And I did bring more than one pair of shoes, but again, they were road shoes and not trail shoes because I'm an idiot. And I should have known better. And so when I went to go do the green loop, because green was next for me, so we're talking like a little over 3 miles. This should take me slowly 40 minutes.
And it was dark.
And it was dark. I did my yellow loop. What time did I do my yellow? When did I start mine?
Yellow at 11:14.
I left out the gate at the starting line at 11:14 to do the yellow.
Finished at 1:30.
I finished at 1:30. Y'all, that's bad. If you're a runner, you're like, holy shit, that was slow.
Green loop was torturous.
The green loop was awful. And I kept
6:30
falling.
a.m.
My feet would get a suction and I couldn't get them out. That's why I say I'm really surprised that my shoes were still on my feet when I came in to the gate. And at one point I fell and I went, I am so over this shit. And some lady in the background goes, I'm so sorry. If you want to break somebody's spirit, like,
Ask him to run it.
ask them to go run that loop after it has rained for 6 hours and people have been running through it for hours. And so you do your mileage. You have 24 hours to do the mileage. And so I went out. You said my green loop. What time did I leave to do
9:03
green?
p.m.
What time?
About 9 p.m.
9 p.m. So I left in the dark, 9 p.m., a headlamp on, a headlamp in my hand. And basically, my southern friends will know because we've done it. What we used to do in the four-wheeler down the trails and stuff, I did it today or last night. It just in my shoes but yeah, it was just insane. And so I suffered. Took me an hour and 28 minutes to do 3 miles. That is so sad. That's like a 30 pace. It's awful. It was just so awful. And I come in and my little spirit was broke and I was just over it. And so I cleaned up. They had a water hose. I cleaned up real good with the water hose. Got out of my wet clothes and I told Bill, I was like, I'm wearing my Hokas to run the last loop. The red loop was 7 miles. They were saying there was only a couple of spots of mud instead of the entire thing being mud. And so they said there's a bunch on the road area, and I was like, okay, this seems better. I would do like 3 7 miles like that versus what we did on the other.
Started at sunrise this morning.
I started my 7 miles at sunrise. I have some pictures. I'll post them. I actually paused my watch and took it in because it was so pretty and so peaceful, and I took some pictures. And it took me a little while for that one too, but it happens when you stop your watch and so forth. And about 5.5 miles probably, I hit the wall. My legs were just give out. Having to trek through that mud showed me how out of shape I really am. It was okay, I'm just walking it in. I'm not even fast-paced walking. I'm just gonna try to get to the finish line. But if you are an active person and you like to run and you like to do that kind of stuff, I highly recommend doing like the Ragnar. This Ragnar was not like other Ragnars. This Ragnar will make you not to ever want to do something like that again. It was so bad. But Bill and I were sitting here and we're talking about it, and I was like, 12 hours ago, I was sitting in a mud hole questioning my decisions a lot that led me to that point. I paid money to do this, people. And got the t-shirt. I earned this t-shirt. But we were like, how funny it is that we do this kind of stuff. And even Tim, who is not I'm going to get into some mud or dirt kind of person, was like, I absolutely hated the mud, but I loved the idea of what happened, and I would do another one, just not that one. We were like, no, not that one. But yeah, so
Now we're remembering it fondly.
Yeah, now we're remembering it fondly. It's like really weird.
Rewiring in our brains somehow.
Yeah, isn't that funny? So you're just absolutely miserable, and it's just torture while it's happening. It was torture. I'm not even gonna lie. It was so bad. And now we're sitting here like, God, was that just 12 hours ago that we were suffering? Just wishing for that quesadilla that Jamie and Chris brought to be warmed up and have some, coffee. And it's so fun and so, I don't know. I don't even know the word for it.
Awful.
Yeah, awful.
Awful, wonderful. There's got to be a German word.
There's got to be something. Anyway, I'll post pictures and stuff and probably go into a little bit of detail. But Jamie and Chris made sure that we had some food to eat, and we're very appreciative of that. And then, of course, everybody was great. Lee and Sindra making sure that, so we have this clipboard. I don't know if you guys can see that. And so this is so what we do is we do what we think our pace is by what we normally run. And then our anticipated start time when we actually start. So like John was the first person, he did the green before it started raining. And he started at 8, and he's like, think I'll be back about 8:20 because he runs an 8-minute mile. And so he got back at 8:23. So this tells us if he's going to be back at 8:20, the next runner needs to be in the chute waiting for the pass off of the bib by like 8:15. Because you don't want to run in and not have somebody there waiting to pass off. And it's so funny. So Bill ran and I was next. So he would always pass off to me every time because it rotates in order that way. And everybody runs away. And I passed off to my brother Tim. And when I came in off that yellow one, he was about to run the red, right? And at this point, we haven't ran them all, so we really didn't know what the trails were like. Once you start running that, when you come in, you'll be like, oh, when you run the red, watch the blah, blah, blah. Don't miss this turn. You give them pointers. I ran in and I was like, are those trail shoes? And he said, no. And I said, you better hang to the grass for some traction because you were about to suffer. And I just handed it to him. And then the next go around, at this point, I had done the yellow and the green, which usually are the easier ones, and they were not. They absolutely were not. They had to change the yellow route so it and the green ran together coming back into the chute because there was a lot of flooding. And so everybody was running through there, and it just made it so bad. And I came in from that green, and I just walked up to him with the bib, and I was like, I'm just so sorry. And I handed him the bib and walked off. That's all I could do. It was so bad. But we're already talking about a team name for next year. Like, when can we sign up for a different Ragnar again? It just gets you in that spirit. We're about to watch. We were watching Brittany Runs a Marathon, which is a good movie, by the way. And for like the 12th time, I don't know. We watched it a lot, and we stopped it and was like, God, we were so miserable like 10 hours ago, and now we're like talking about running another one. It's really funny. It's interesting.
It is.
Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to share that experience. I know some of y'all are like, we really like your videos. I haven't had a shower yet. I just ate. I cleaned my plate because I was starving. My legs are so sore. And one of the times that I fell, I kind of fell on my hips. So my hips are a little sore. But we were Team 20. And so that was really cool. Y'all see how muddy that is, right? It is so muddy. Y'all should see the picture. I didn't take pictures of myself with the mud. I should have. But some of my teammates did. And so I can post pictures of how muddy they were. But some of the people, they would come in and you could just tell that they had fell numerous times. They would have mud up their back, and I'm sure we smelled real great. But yeah, it's insane. And I told Bill the reason I'm doing the video, I was like, man, I should have recorded some while we were at Ragnar. That would have been really great. So I may have to do that next time so people can kind of see what that's like. Yeah. It's real interesting. It's a lot of fun. And if you're an adventurous kind of person, you should totally get a team together or join a team. There's a lot of times people have runners that drop out and they're looking for somebody to join. Most people are not competitive, and so we're not competitive. Our goal is to get to the finish line and have a good time. And so we don't care if you're fast or slow or whatever. Last year we lost 2 runners and we picked up 2 total strangers, which are now some friends, and so that was a lot of fun. We got to know them, and so we lost 3 runners this time, but we were able to find people, here.
Not during the race.
Not during the race, before the race. Because what happens is we get so excited after we leave here, we go ahead and sign up for like the next one. Like the next one local to us will be the one in Hill Country that we've done several times. It's in October. So we're sitting here talking about, well, if we go ahead and sign up now, we need to start asking some people to join. And so, because I told my daughter, I was like, you should come and like man the clipboard for us so that we can sleep. Because you just sleep in between the runs. You eat and sleep in between the runs because it's so tiring. But it is a lot of fun.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of fun. I'll do another video later. I have to shower. I have not done that yet. I'm gonna shower. I've got messages and stuff, y'all. I did not have hardly any service out there. I opened up my phone to do this, and I'm like, oh my god, I have so many unanswered messages and phone calls and stuff. So I'll look at all that after I take a shower. I'm so tired. But anyway, yep. See my little Ragnar sticker. Well, it's a
Tattoo.
fake tattoo. You know, everybody gets one and puts that on. I put mine on my arm. Anyway, I'll do another video at some point. I know Trisha and them were like, we like watching you cook, so maybe I'll do some of cooking and stuff. But just wanted to share that with you because it's interesting. But I will post pictures and stuff here in a little while when I get settled. Anyway, bye.